So I'm 22 years old right now, and I've got, I think, 1.8 or so million followers across all my automotive social media platforms. So I have Snapchat, like 260,000. I have YouTube with like 500. Instagram's like 400. I spent the last decade of my life pretty much building to the point where I could do it as my full-time job at 22 years old. The way I got into social media is when I was about 8, 9, I was living in England. I was born in England. I got my first ever, access to an iPad, and I was on the automotive YouTube space because I love cars, so I look up cars basically. And Shmee150 pops up, and I didn't really care about supercars, Lamborghinis, any of that stuff. I was into like Cadillacs from the 50s, the 59s, 57 Chevys, Hummers, and Unimogs. Those were my cars that I liked, and I'd never heard of an Aventador or a 458 or anything like that. And this is right when these cars were coming out. So I remember Shmee's very first video when he was in London with the red 458, the Murcielago SV, and I watched that channel for the first 2 years or so. And then he all of a sudden had an Aston Martin Vantage, and then he had the Audi R8 very quickly after that, and then he got the McLaren MP4-12C. And when he got the 12C, I remember just being mind blown that, as far as I knew, somebody who was making their money from YouTube only had a supercar and was making a full-time living off of driving around and filming cool cars. And I was like, what better job or career could you possibly ever want? So that inspired me to start chasing that dream. And I was like, I need to do this. I need to be a car YouTuber. I'm going to try as hard as I can and do whatever I can to get to that point. Well, I did not realize how much work that would be and how long that would take. I thought 3-4 years in, I'll have a McLaren. Before I graduate high school, I'll have an F430 or something. Well, I quickly realized that that's not how the world works. And it actually takes a long time to learn something, get good at it, and then even be able to monetize it. So when I was probably 10 or 11, I got on Twitter. That was the first social media platform I was on. And the name Magna Cars comes from a little business I had where I was selling Hot Wheels with magnets on the wheels, and it was Magna Cars. And so I decided Magna Cars will be my social media handle. And so I started posting car photography that I was doing at the time. Within a year, my parents decided we're going to move to America to grow their business. And so I moved to Kansas City, of all places, where there are zero supercars, and still to this day there are very few that you will ever see publicly on the streets or anything. There's no dealership nearby. You got to go 3 hours minimum to the nearest exotic car dealership. And so I realized I can't just go around doing photos and making money off of it. So then I decided to post other people's content and sort of be a repost page at the time, because back in 2015-16 that was a big thing on Instagram. And I was like, if I can post cool car pictures and then somehow sell ads on it and grow my following, that'll be great. So I started doing that, and I rebranded temporarily to Cars Worldwide 247, and I grew that page from around, 0 followers. Everyone starts at 0, all the way up to a couple 100,000 followers at the time. And I remember when I hit 20,000 followers, that was like the biggest milestone. And ever since then, there's not been a bigger one. 20,000 on Instagram for me. I remember on the way to the dentist, and I was just like, wow, maybe I can actually do this for a living. I made about $900 off that account in 3 years. So as you can tell, that's not even lawn mowing money. For the amount of work that I was putting in, I was posting 3 times a day. I'd leave my classroom to go to the bathroom to post a better reception. And yeah, I realized after a few years, this is not gonna get me a supercar or any car that I could dream of, like a Shelby Cobra, which is my all-time dream car. So I kind of took a 2-year break where I actually kind of almost like gave up on the dream temporarily. And I was like, this is just not working. And I felt like this whole time I was practicing filming YouTube videos, but they weren't good enough, right? I was like, this isn't good enough. How can I post a video that anyone's gonna care about or wanna watch? But after 2 years, I thought, well, I don't know what else I wanna do in my life, so I might as well try this again. So I started on TikTok. I really didn't want to at the time, but I was like, I've got nothing to lose. Why not? So I made a TikTok account, and I saw Daniel Mack, and Daniel Mack was going around asking people, what do you do for a living? And I was like, wow, I've done that. Every time I go to a car show, I ask someone, if I meet them and they have a cool car that I like, hey, what do you do for a job? So that maybe I can do that and buy that car. he already took the catchphrase, so I thought, I can't copy him. I can't just ask people what they do for a living. And so I thought, well, what can I do? I'll ask the kids in my high school who have nice cars, how did they get this car in high school? Sort of a similar thing, but that'll be my niche. Just high school students, maybe some college kids. So I tried that for a while, and sure enough, it did really well on TikTok. And I named my TikTok again, Magna Cars. I went back to that name. And after about a year of doing that, I thought, might as well resurrect the Instagram account. So I started posting those videos on Instagram, and they started doing 30,000 views, and I was really happy with that. But again, zero money, no income at all. I can't even buy a moped. So I'm like, this is not working. Keep doing that for another year and a half and grew my following on TikTok. Then they brought out the monetization program, so I joined that, and I was starting to make a few dollars a day. Still not even an hour of work at McDonald's, but at least it was something. And I kept going on that, kept going on that, kept going on that, and it grew and grew and grew. And I got to the point where I was like, well, might as well grow Snapchat and Facebook and try everything so that one day it hopefully will pay off. And I made my YouTube channel around the same time. I started posting on YouTube the same TikToks I was doing, the short form content, and I got 0 views. Literally nobody watched the channel. A year in, nobody's watching. I haven't even hit 1,000 views on a YouTube short or anything. And I'm like, this is going so bad. And now I'm like 18 years old. I'm like, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna have to find a real job and do something else. But I kept going at it. I kept going at it. I remember getting the notification, you hit 500 subscribers on YouTube. And I was like, wow, maybe I'm not that far off from 500,000. That's what I thought at the time. And then I just kept posting. And one day, after probably a year and a half, one of the videos all of a sudden hit 10,000 views in like one day. And I was like, wow, we might actually have a crack at this. So then I went even harder, posted even more videos, and when that one hit 10,000 on that short, I made no money off of it, but that gave me the sort of hope again that I could actually do this. So then I kept posting more and more, and after that, they just kept going up and up and up, and then the channel started gaining momentum, and then it really grew up, and it hit 100,000 subscribers within a year. And since then, I've gone on, and it's now like 500,000 subscribers, but the interesting thing is my channel is a lot of it is short form content, and now in the last 2 years I've really been focused on doing long form and short form. And I think what's going on YouTube right now is you've got a lot of the YouTubers that have been doing it for the last 10 years, and some of them have short form, but most of them don't. It's all long form, because long form is where the money is. If you want to make YouTube or anything your career in social media, you've either got to sell brand deals on the short form or you got to do long form, because no matter if you get 5 million views on a short, you're going to make maybe a couple $100, which is not that much money for that much work to come up with an idea, to create the video, to post the video, and then only 1 out of maybe 50 will actually break 1 million views. The percentage of actual videos that you really make money on is like third, maybe, if you're doing well, for most content creators. Obviously you've got exceptions, Matt Armstrong and stuff like that, where every video they post seems to do amazing, but even artists like Drake, only like 28% of their songs are hits. And it's like that when you do anything, I think, especially in social media. So for me, I just kept posting, and the videos have started to do well. And then what happened is I made a little bit of money, and I built my 190. I've told the story on that car. I put all my money in the first year of social media. I made, I think, around $30,000 Canadian. And I put that all into that car, and I had 0 money left over after that year, but it paid off. And then I got a few brand deals from that. And then since then I kept growing. And the income's gone up, and now it's at the point where from my social media, I'm probably making around a normal average salary in the US, maybe a little bit more than that from just the YouTube ad revenue. And then you've got brand deals. So if you want to do content creation full time, you have to have brand deals, really. I mean, that's how Car Trek and all these other YouTubers you see, Hoovy and all these people, like a lot of it is actually the brand deals, even more so than the YouTube ad revenue. That is often like 30% of a creator's sort of portfolio from the ones that I've met. And then you've got other side incomes, whether you're buying and selling products or cars or things like that you can make money off of on social media. In this day and age, I think it's interesting. We're going into a new phase where we've got new creators that are all short form content, or they're doing short form and long form. And it makes it a new opportunity to have a lot more growth. But if you're doing short form only, you have to have either a product you're selling or ads you're selling on the short form, because otherwise you cannot make enough money just off of the short form content alone to sustain any kind of like career or anything like that. But it's still definitely doable. We're only 15 years at most into this whole YouTube thing, and I think there's a lot of room to grow. So if you want to still make a channel, I don't think it's too late. I don't think that you've missed the boat, missed your opportunity. It's going to take a lot of work, but it's still definitely doable. There's still hope. And I think another misconception is people think, oh, well, if this channel's not doing as well as it once was, then what's the point? Why should I start? But you have to realize that channel not doing as well as it once was, it can still be making $10, $15, $20,000 a month, which is crazy. You know, I mean, that's life-changing amount of money for most of us. So even if your channel isn't doing as well as a lot of the top channels, you can still make a good side income, or even maybe make it your full-time job. And it doesn't have to be car related. You could do pretty much anything you want, gardening, whatever. But my tips would be consistency, post at least 4 times a week, short form or long form, both if you can do it. And then right now, another thing that's coming into social media is going back to photos and slideshows. And companies like Facebook are actually paying creators to post pictures now instead of just videos, and you can make money off of posting pictures. That's why you're seeing more and more slideshows on like Instagram and Facebook and even YouTube posts. I don't think they pay anyone for that. At least I'm not getting paid for it. But that's a big thing. Another tip that I would have if you want to do social media now, post short form videos, long form videos, and slideshow pictures that tell a sort of storyline of something that you did or that you're doing, or someone that you met, or your progress on your car build, or whatever it might be. And the other thing is collaborating with people. We're coming into an age of AI and, you know, a lot of fake videos and slop and just garbage online. Collaborating with other real people, even if you might only have a couple thousand followers and they have a couple thousand followers, just the real connection brings authenticity and like credibility to your page. It's not for clout or using someone for views, but it's just showing, hey, I'm a real person doing something with some other real person that maybe a few people watch. And I think that that is so important as we go into this AI age where you're like, I don't know if this person's real. I don't know if this person's made up, AI generated. So if you want to do social media, I don't think it's too late. Don't give up if that's your dream. Keep pushing forwards and just do collabs, post 4 times a week, and make sure you include pictures back into your content, because that's apparently going to be even more focused on by Instagram and Facebook and maybe other platforms in the next couple of years. The other thing that's happening is YouTube is sort of replacing TV in a lot of ways. My analytics on my channel, it's like 40% is all watched on TV, and people are watching these videos now instead of going on Amazon or Hulu or whatever, Netflix, and they're watching a YouTube video. That's why you've also got some creators doing 45-minute videos, because they're trying to replace what would have been your old sort of Velocity or Carcraft TV or some kind of older car TV show. So they're trying to do 40-minute episodes so they get more ad revenue and more money off of that. So if you want to go down that route, that's another good option. But for me personally, I like being able to do 12-minute videos, 15-minute videos, keep it nice, short, sweet, and every minute, hopefully, is worth watching.
This month of VINwiki content is brought to you by Premier Financial Services, and they are the perfect partner in your journey to own your dream car, because their Simple Lease is the most powerful tool in the world of exotic car financing. You'll get all the benefits of a leasing structure, like lower payments and better tax treatment, along with everything we love about a normal exotic car loan, where you can trade in and out at any time, always know where you stand thanks to their amortization table, and accumulate equity for whenever you're finished and ready for the next car. And Premier is great because they're wholly owned and backed by First Financial Bank, which means they have more buying power than any other exotic car bank or collector car bank in the United States, and their customer service is unmatched. Also, rates are lower than they have been in a very, very long time, so it's never been a better time to reach out to Premier, talk to their representatives, learn what you can pre-qualify for, and let them help you own the car of your dreams with Premier Financial Services.